Welcome back to another week of the Wholesome Music Podcast.
We are the DIY podcast
for DIY musicians.
That's right.
So we just did a little bit of time travel here. You're going to hear us at the end come up with a new tagline.
That's the tagline that we just figured out at the end of the episode.
But of course, we always do the intro last.
But you haven't heard it yet. But you will if you stay all the way to the end.
And of course, if you stay all the way to the end, you're going to get the take it or leave it advice, which we just did, and I can tell you it's very good advice.
I mean, I could say so myself.
I
do say so myself.
And it is having to do with reverb because, of course, we are continuing our history of recording technology with the history of reverb.
That's right.
And as always, I don't know about you, but I learned some things this week.
We learned some new stuff. This filled our brains with knowledge.
Yep. We really, really did. Next, we did some just classic wholesome music catnip.
Yeah, we did.
12 things more important than Spotify streams.
There are a whole lot of things, but we're only going to tell you 12 of them.
And this conversation turned into an extended conversation about traditional PR.
Yeah, we ran away with this. We had a good time.
We did. There are things in here that like Cameron once again is just like dropping knowledge gems on you. Johnny Appleseed.
Some real PR info here too.
Also a PR professional with some some thoughts on the matter. So yeah, there's like this turned into like it wasn't the discussion I was planning on having. It turned into a wonderful discussion about like music promotion and like a really extended kind of middle section there about traditional music PR, which of course I do. We didn't introduce ourselves. We'll get into that. And then finally we did a music news roundup. It was very AI heavy this week.
It was great.
But it was great. It was like...
We talked about Charlie Puth.
Yeah.
And his ears.
Yeah. And it was and dear listener or viewer, it was fine. It wasn't bad AI news this week.
Well, I mean, you got to take some, you win some, you lose some. This week we won some.
We really, really did.
It was a good week at the AI casino. What can I say? The gal she hit this week.
Yeah, luck be a lady this week. So then, of course, in the end, Cameron left us with some great take it or leave it advice. As always, my name is Augustus Watkins, pronouns he, she, or they. I do traditional music PR under the company The Cocaine Opera. I co-own a record label called Give Take. I'm really interested in the creative process, the creative strategy, what it is that drives artists to create, especially in this weird digital era. I'm still kind of an old school gal, just trying to make my way in this crazy world.
I love that. My name's Cam LJ. You're here with us at Secret Spot DTLA. We're downtown Los Angeles' co-working space for creatives. My pronouns are he, they, or she, but I will take any pronouns that you would like to call me.
As always, Cameron, that is such a professional introduction. God.
You gotta repeat it over and over and over again.
But this is episode, 37? And I'm still figuring out mine.
But I feel like you change it every week. It's a little different. You know, you get new sauces. For me, I just lock into the same old words every week. The same ones, no change, always the same.
I could do your introduction. We did one time.
From your sleep.
Yeah, I
bet you could.
Yeah, I really could. I'm very good at doing downtown Los Angeles co-working space
for creatives.
So let's get into this episode. Please
like,
subscribe, share, get involved with us. And if you have comments, we'd love to hear them.
We would, because then at the end, we could read them.
Yeah, we would love to we did that last week. We would love to continue doing that.
Yes.
So I think with that, let's do this.
Let's do it.
All right, take off. All right. So as you know, we have been doing this series, which we are maybe calling the history of... I already forgot.
What did you said? The history of...
Recorded.
You were thinking like engineering
music
and production.
Yeah.
So the history of recorded music production.
Yeah, history of music production, history of music engineering. This isn't like the history like the iPad and the phonograph and shit. This is like the history of how music gets produced, as in how it gets engineered and created and recorded and made.
Yeah,
and mixed and all of that. So we've done now a bunch of these.
Yeah, we have.
And what we found in the process of doing these is there's actually more than we had anticipated.
Yes.
And so we ran through all the material that you had. And so now we're on to the material that I've got.
Yeah, you wanted to do the time-based effects. So take us through the history of reverb today.
Right. So first of all, let's establish what reverb is. And I think, is it possible that like when we edit this down, you can put a little reverb on so people can hear it?
Yeah, I'm sure we can throw reverb in at some point.
It's that thing where it's short for reverberation.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever been in an unfurnished, empty apartment,
Yes,
and you listen to how you're like, whoa, everything's super echoey in here,
Mm-hmm.
everything sounds weird, and then when you if you move out and you're like, whoa, like you're
you
back.
take all of your furniture
Yeah.
out, take out everything that's like deadening the sound, and
Yeah.
you have a super reverberant space.
Or, I think a classic one is a stairwell sometimes. There's like metallic stairwells. Bathrooms, really great one. In fact, we're going to come back to bathrooms. Once again, Cameron just on the nose. Maybe did you know the word how important bathrooms are?
I mean, there's definitely a lot of times you've recorded in a bathroom, and historically we've recorded, put amps in the bathroom to get, or in a hall to get that like reverb sound.
Yeah.
And then you're remiking this thing that's going out into that space.
So that really leads us to, now that we've established what it is, reverb first kind of came on the scene, not actually as an effect or something that you would put on music, but actually as a feature of architecture.
Yes.
This is, I think a really classic example is big old churches.
Yeah.
You go into like a big stone cathedral Catholic church, and the sound is just reverberant. It just washes over you.
Yeah, that's like in part to do with like those huge organs, right? You think of those huge organs that are built around those cathedrals that only sound the way they do when they're in the full cathedral. Like you take one of the enormous pipe organs out of a church and play it in a tiny room like this, and you're like, it doesn't sound the same.
Yeah. Actually, did you know that's also a really important part of reverb's history?
Tell me about it.
We're gonna get there. Cameron, you're fucking amazing, because you are 2 for 2 now, and like things that are just vitally important to the absolute earliest history of reverb.
Well, I'm excited to get into it.
At first, like I said, it was architecture, and so even when we get to the earliest days of microphones, architecture was really the only way that you captured reverb. And we're not even talking about bathrooms and attics yet. We're talking literally about just being in a space and moving the microphone a little closer to a source to get less reverb, or moving it a little further away to capture more of the reverb,
the room sound
in the actual studio that you're in.
Exactly.
So that's the earliest form of reverb, is architecture, and then it's placing a microphone within that architecture as you're capturing a source. Real quick, kind of tiny little detour. Early speakers. We've talked about the early days of like music reproduction in past, which you can find if you're on the standalone. You'll find on YouTube on standalone. If you're on a standalone video, you'll find this in the YouTube playlist. If not, you have to go back to previous episodes. One of the things is that, as we know, early speaker technology was pretty shit.
Yeah,
and so reverb really was kind of phased out of recorded music in the 20s and 30s.
When you say phased out, what do you mean?
Like they didn't use it because the speakers were so trash that reverb just was like just a no-go in terms of like the jukeboxes.
Like hadn't been used, or was used before and is no longer being used?
Yeah, it was not. It had kind of come up, and then it went away.
Like you're saying, like maybe organic reverb was in the space, and then like we're not talking about there having been like a spring reverb that we were using.
We're not even there yet.
Before that, and then we pulled it out. We're just talking about like, because of the reproduction of these speakers, like you really want it to be as clean as possible.
Yeah. So this is what we're talking about. Like the mic would be all up on the performance and not back to catch reverb.
Trying to get things as clean and accurate as possible.
Because the speakers just couldn't, just sounded like butt. And so like you just were trying to make something sound good.
Also there wasn't like a physical reverb. There wasn't, other than like actually like capturing the room sound, there wasn't like a reverb plugin that you could use, or reverb like outboard effects yet.
So here's where that story starts to come in. Here's where the bathroom comes in. And if you've been in recording much, you know that like the bathroom is like this classic place, right? Legendary engineer and the founder of Universal Audio, Bill Putnam, was the first person who came up with what we now widely recognize as reverb. And this was in 1947. I actually listened to the song. It's called Peg Oh My Heart by the Harmonic Cats.
Interesting.
And it's wonderful, and it's like the reverb is like really interesting because you can tell it's really like the first time it's been used as like an effect in a song. So you could tell they're kind of dialing it in, and they're
playing
like
with it.
Yeah, they're like moving it up and down. It's really cool, and the way they did that, of course, was to put a speaker in a bathroom. And then another microphone
in the far side.
And, I guess this is technically kind of reamping, but re-recording. So it wasn't live. This was just after they captured the take, they played it back and they re-recorded it.
And this was super common. And many like legacy studios that you can go to, like Abbey Road, a bunch of other studios that you like Ocean Way, if they're
Capitol Records, Hitsville, USA. Yep.
All are going to have these rooms.
So after this, they realized like, hey, this is rad, but we shouldn't just rely on the bathroom. So they started building them, right? So that's where you got Abbey Road had one chamber for each of its 3 studios. Capitol is the one where they quite famously built these chambers 30 feet underground.
Yeah, they're underground reverb chambers.
Les Paul designed those.
Oh, I didn't know Les Paul designed those. That's cool.
The Motown sound at Hitsville, USA was an attic. I didn't know that.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then Gold Star Studios had 2 chambers, which is a key part of Phil Spector's wall of sound.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the early days of this. And again, this was like you have basically a speaker on one side and a microphone on the other, and you're just capturing how the sound reverberates through the room.
Exactly. You're capturing all the reflections in the room of your original source.
I went to a party a couple years ago here in LA at a swanky studio. And it probably doesn't matter, but I'm not gonna name names because I wasn't supposed to be up there.
Okay.
But someone brought me up to the reverb room of
that's cool.
Of this very famous studio, and it was like it was great. So we went through a room and up some winding stairs, and it was in the this wasn't a purpose-built studio, but it's been a studio now for since at least the 40s.
Wow.
So it's been retrofit for a long time.
Feels pretty purpose-built.
It wasn't, though. It was originally like a grocery store, I think.
Oh, like you're saying there was a previous use of the building.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so now they found they had this room, and it was just 2 SM 57s, which go back to our microphone episode to learn more about that.
Yep.
And they were just in an XY pattern.
Yep.
In the middle of the room, and there was a speaker, and that was that.
Yeah.
And it was like, but then I got to record there a little bit later, and I got to hear it, and it sounded just wonderful. It was just 2 57s in a room.
Well, when you think about it, it really matters where you place them too. Like if you're doing like stereo XY, then like if you put them in the corner, you're going to get like a totally different set of reflections than if you have it in the center of the room. So really, like if you are miking in that in an actual like reverb chamber or in an actual hall or in a bathroom or any of these physical spaces, like where you place is going to give you so much like opportunity to color.
And what else, of course, is in the room?
Yeah.
Abbey Road is famous because it has these like cylinders, these like the columns, they call it, in the middle to kind of cut back on the to change the nature of the reflections.
Yeah.
So that's room reverb, and room reverb obviously still exists. Like you can right now, and it's a valid thing, and people do it all the time. You can go into your bathroom or reamp in your bathroom and get some pretty cool shit out of there.
Yeah, you can. Or in the hallways, like if you have any area that's reflective and is fairly closed off. So when I say reflective, like no chairs, like ideally not a lot on the walls, just like blank walls and blank floor and blank ceiling. That's really, really, it's going to be a super reflective space.
So one thing that kind of came up pretty quickly is that we don't really have, not everybody can just build a room.
Yeah.
And one of the problems with rooms is that there might be one room for 4 studios. So you're like, hey, you have to organize it.
You mind if I throw my amp in there and throw in one of the speakers and set it up in the reverb chamber?
And apparently, so this fancy studio in Hollywood that I went to, apparently they still had a connection to another studio next door. So not only was that room for all 3 or 4 of their studios, but actually was also in use
shared
somehow.
For theirs. The others.
Yeah. So that's not going to work.
That's a cool asset.
It's cool, but so then so this is where you mentioned, you remember talking about organs a little bit earlier?
Of course.
So the first mechanical reverb was a spring reverb. This was technology that actually had been adapted from the phone company, but it was sold on sold on Hammond organs. So this was invented by I don't have his name, Mr. Hammond himself.
Yeah.
Right? And these are these big organs but these are the ones that people wanted at home. But because people were so used to having reverberation in their organs at church, they had this feature where they sold their home use organs with these spring boxes in them.
Yes.
So that it would sort of create a facsimile.
Emulate that same sound.
Do you want to explain the way this mechanical reverb works, spring reverb and plate reverb?
No, you go for it.
Okay. I know you know this stuff, but basically
physical spring.
Yeah, there's
plate, physical plate.
That's all there is, right? There's just like this is like a physical box. You take, imagine like the size of a room, but you shrink it down to a box. And spring reverb is what it sounds like. There's a bunch of springs stretched in between. There's a little tiny little speaker essentially on one side and a tiny little microphone on the other, contact mic. And the sound comes out at one side, gets picked up by the microphone on the other side, and there's reverb. So this was, what do we got? The 30s and 40s. And by the 1960s, they had really kind of perfected the technology, and that's what they were getting. That's what's getting licensed for Fender amps.
Yep, that's the big use case for that.
So to this day,
the silver phase. Yeah, we got all these Fender amps that are known, like the Fender Twin, known for having that spring reverb that's so iconic to the Fender sound.
Yeah, and so to this day, those mics, those amps still have these little reverb units on it, which is why like you can kind of pick up and set down your amp and get this, which like you shouldn't do, but you also should do. The first plate reverb comes in 1957. This is called the EMT 140. Have you heard of this?
No, I can't place this exact one.
This was, I know you're kind of a nerd for the early stuff, so I was curious. This was, EMT is a German company. This thing was a wooden box with a steel frame and a thin spring-mounted metal sheet, which is the plate, inside of it. And it had a motorized damping mechanism. Do you want to just like make a guess at how much this weighed?
It weighed a ton. It weighed a ton.
Yeah.
They're big. It's a huge plate. It's bigger than our table.
Yeah.
It's big. It's a big plate. I'm going to guess like 250 pounds.
That's close in kilograms.
I don't know how that converts, but hell yeah.
270 kilograms, which is about 600 pounds.
Yeah, that checks out.
So this is a massive, massive unit. They're very expensive. So they're really wonderful, but they didn't have a lot of use. And so this is where really quickly people realize, like, all right, we've got to figure out a way to do this without having giant rooms or these 600-pound monstrosities.
There are still a number, like a few places where you can go and get an actual plate reverb, like a physical plate reverb. There are a few studios, I can't name them off the top of my head, but a few of those big legacy rooms that still have that original plate setup,
like a big EMT 140.
Yeah, and it's cool.
There's a studio that you and I both have experience with out in Minneapolis, and that had a little box, an actual reverb, little tiny box. It wasn't very heavy, but there was an actual physical unit in that, and because we did a record out of there, and I remember.
Are you talking about the Teragram or the Pearl?
No, neither. The now defunct, the one
the Sound Gallery.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I never actually recorded in there, so I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was always there for the party.
Okay. Well, yeah, those too. We had one of those when we had our record. So yeah, they had actually it was a box. I would say it's kind of like the size, like half the size of your mini fridge, and it was a physical reverb unit.
There is, I'm sure we'll get to this, but there are some incredible physical reverb units that are older, not as old as this.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll get there.
So the 1976, which again is like, we always kind of come back to like 50s and 70s. There's always like a big jump in the 70s and early 80s. This is where EMT launched the EMT 250. They marketed it as the digital version of the 140. The 140 is the 600-pound beast.
The plate.
Yep. And it had a chorus, a phaser, and a delay, which we're going to get into later, all of those. And then 4 years later, they released the 251, which updated the processing power from 12 to 16-bit, extended the frequency response, and expanded the control panel. So this is the era of the digital reverb unit. 76 into the 80s. This is where some of those classic cheesy 80s reverb sounds come from, which I am like very partial to. This is your Eventide, TC Electronics,
Yeah.
Roland, Yamaha, Alesis.
Yep.
These sort of, and like what's crazy is like these units are still kind of bouncing around.
Yeah. The Eventide is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huge fan of that.
So I've also had a chance to hear that, and I was like, to this day, it's incredible.
Yeah.
You're just like, what? How does this? How is this so good in this stupid little box?
For real.
Yeah. And so then I think the other kind of big thing to note before we get into the DAW is convolution reverb, 1997.
Yes, and impulse responses.
Yeah. So this is where
I was waiting for this.
Okay. So jump in if you want to at any point because I'm talking a lot.
No, you're great.
This uses real-time signal processing created from measurements created in real spaces.
Exactly.
So this was a jump in technology.
Mm-hmm.
So and to this day there are convolution reverbs and the other kind,
mechanical
style. And so now in the DAW era, basically, if you can see in my notes, now there are 100 trillion reverbs.
Yeah. No, you can get an impulse. You can make an impulse. We could make an impulse response of this room. Mm-hmm. And then we could always have the reverb of this room. You can get impulse responses of Abbey Road, of like Ocean Way, of like all these legendary rooms, and then recreate that reverb in your production and whatever you're working on. I think I have mixed feelings. I think there's like, have you worked directly with impulse responses?
Not in any extensive way. I've thrown them on and you just kind of like, okay.
I think it's mid.
Yeah,
I think it's mid. Other people, I think they're great. It's an amazing tool to have.
Yeah.
I think oftentimes it loses some of the magic that you would get with like a large room reverb that you're used to hearing, where when you're like making an impulse response, sometimes they just sound dry.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sometimes they just sound a little bit dry.
Okay. Yeah. Well, once again, you queued us up. We're going to talk about what dry means here in a second. Let's go through the types of reverbs.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I say them, you can probably tell us what they are, but if you want to. Okay. Hall reverb.
Hall reverb is a large reverb that is in a hall.
Yep. It replicates the sound of a big concert hall. Mm-hmm. So there's a super long decays, several seconds.
Long decays, several seconds long. It feels big. It feels like you're in a hall, like you would, like a concert hall. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what we're referencing.
This they had separated. I think of these as kind of the same, but chamber is more like big, even bigger. Mm-hmm. Okay, hall, chamber. Yeah.
Hall, chamber.
And then
maybe the size, like the way the room is a chamber. Often a hall is going to be based on like square geometry.
Yeah.
And a chamber might have more round or like not perfectly like rectangle or square geometry, might have weird, funky, round elements to it.
Which are designed in real life, physical space, to actually diffuse and make reverb sound nicer.
More organic.
So a chamber reverb often sounds a little cleaner.
Yeah.
You would think.
A little bit more rounded.
You can kind of guess this one at home if you're playing along, but room reverb.
Room reverb. It sounds like the room. Sounds like a room. It sounds probably a little bit less reflective than like a hall, because a room is generally emulating a room with stuff in it.
Sure.
It's generally not emulating a totally empty room. It's generally replicating a room as you are using it. Plates, like we talked about, based off those big physical plates. Yeah. So it's going to be a plate style reverb that
wobbles.
Yep, that physically, and it sounds cool. It has its specific use cases.
Plates are they can be pretty dense and pretty warm. Mm-hmm. Pretty nice for vocals often. Yeah. And finally, spring.
Small, spring. Also, there's small plate, large plate.
Sure.
So like you can get those two different sounds. Mm-hmm. What was the spring reverb, like we talked about previously. Physical spring, it's boinging. You're probably familiar with that sound.
Yeah.
And you're familiar with the guitar. If you're a guitar player, you've definitely heard the spring reverb.
Yeah, like think like surf music, that is like classic spring, right? Mm-hmm. So really quick, we had a lot to say about reverb. Really. Let's go over really quickly the kind of typical reverb settings, beginning with pre-delay.
Yes.
So pre-delay is the time between the original sound and the reverb effect.
Yeah, when it starts in. like between the original when the original song sounds the original song when the original sound ends and the reverb begins.
So this is really for clarity.
Yeah, like, and think about it. You can also think about it. This is a little bit confusing, but think about it as like, how long would it take for your sound to hit the back wall or hit the reflective surface and then come back to the capture device? So the longer the pre-delay is, the further away it sounds.
Okay. Decay.
Decay is how long does the reverb last at the end?
So a shorter time would make it feel like the space is more compact, and a longer decay would make it feel like you're in a expansive space,
big room.
But that's different than this, and this is where it can get a little confusing. Then there's actually size, which is really like the size of the room that you're emulating.
Yeah.
So the bigger the room, the boomier the delay.
Yep. The bigger the room, the more.
How about damping?
Dampening is like how much. I mean, in a physical space, it would be how much acoustic treatment do you have?
Sure.
How many things do you, or couches, or blankets, or foam, or whatever you're using?
People.
How much people? How many bodies? How much stuff you got?
Absorbent.
Yeah. How much absorption do you have? How much do you have that stops the reflection?
So this is a lot of times specifically for high frequencies that'll kind of dampen out the high frequencies, so it can create a little bit more of a warmer sound.
This is just really short, but is relevant. That's why, like in this room, you'll see I have the little thin foam upstairs, and then I have these big pieces of foam. The thin pieces of foam, like you see, everyone's like, oh, put egg grates in your studio. They do work at knocking down like very high frequencies.
Yep.
So when we're thinking of reverb, you're not hearing the reverb anymore. You're like, my space is treated. But it's not only really stopping those upper frequencies, unless you've got big acoustic panels.
Yeah, and bass traps, as they say.
Yes.
And now finally, the one you mentioned, dry versus wet.
Yeah, absolutely. How much of the original, the dry is the original signal, the wet is the signal of the reverb. So the dry would be your voice without any reverb. That's dry.
So that would be like 0% wet, 100% dry. And then opposite, if you wanted nothing but reverb, that would be 100% wet.
Absolutely.
And so typically what we're doing is part of the process of dialing in a reverb is just dialing in how much of that you're going to want.
Your dry wet settings.
So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 settings really, unless you think I missed any, kind of form the core of how reverb works.
Yeah.
And as you quite famously said, if you learn your reverb and figure those settings out, these are the 5 parameters that are going to work together for you to kind of get to dial in the sound that you want.
Yeah. And there's resources. You can go to Reverb Calculator. Your reverb time can be literally like times to your song. So if you know the BPM, you can go in, make sure your reverb time is calculated to your BPM. So that's another way. There's so much more in the world of reverbs that we could dive into, but I think this gives us like a cohesive place.
So now that you kind of know this, when you are doing your part to learn, when you get a tutorial on TikTok, or you searching on YouTube for tutorials to learn, or you actually go to a music school or whatever, when they talk about this stuff, now you'll have a little bit better understanding of what they mean when they say, oh, here I want to set wet, change the size this way, this kind of wet, this kind of dry. Now you have a better understanding what that means, so you can take that and use that in your own production. Even when you're messing around in your DAW, you'll understand what these settings are now, so you can actually dial in better reverb.
Absolutely.
So next week, we're going to continue with our time-based effects. I'm not going to promise which effect we're going to do because it's kind of like that right now, but we're going to have another one next week. And so stick with us. If you're on the main feed, we're going to reset and come again. If you are on a standalone video, or you just watched the history of reverb, please consider coming and joining us on our main feed. We do this kind of stuff every single week, and we do a lot of music news and creativity and things like that. So either way, thank you for watching us, and stick around for more. This is from an Instagram account called Finchbergling, which of course we always put the links.
Finchbergling.
Yep.
That's a name.
It really is.
That right there. That's a name.
So as always, links to these will be in our show notes, in the description, in whatever platform you're joining us on. 12 things more important than Spotify streams. I don't even know if we'll get to all 12 of these, and some of these are bigger than others, but the first one that Finch says, Finch says first, streams look good on paper, but they won't build your career or pay your bills.
Agree.
Here are 12 things that actually will. Number 1, email subscribers.
Yeah, agree. We talked about this so many times. Have an email list. You and I both have our email list.
Yes, we do. Because when Instagram crashes or Spotify changes their algorithm, your email list is still there and you own it.
That's right.
Number 2, people who know your name. 10,000 streams from people who forgot you exist by tomorrow is worth less than 100 fans who know your name and come back for more.
Absolutely.
So this kind of gets into, this is in a kind of Spotify streaming world. This might be the concept of a super fan. But I would like to sort of extend this to just like your community and people
and
who
awareness marketing, right? Like there's a difference between like, hey,
Sure.
I'm trying to drive you specifically to my song. I'm running this ad so that you click and go listen on Spotify versus I'm running this ad so you remember who I am. Like maybe it's just a funny video and I'm like,
True.
from Secret Spot DTLA and branded it. Like that way next time you might have only been like, oh, that was funny. I liked it and move on. But you remember that it's just a difference in what is the end goal. What is your call to action, right? Is your call to action to go stream on Spotify, or is your call to action just like, hey, this is who I am. I hope you remember me. Come back for more.
This is what I'm about. Number 3, speaking of, this is more specific to Spotify, but song saves. So a stream is just somebody who played your song. It can get like Spotify
in a playlist,
will just,
in just algorithmically fed to them. So many different ways, but a play is just one listen.
Right, but a save means that somebody actually took time out of their day to like, they heard it and they went, oh, I got to have this again.
I like this.
So they want to save it. This is a lot like playlist ads. Same concept, right? Somebody hears your song, which is, by the way, number 4. Somebody hears your song and goes, ooh, I want more of this. And I got to.
How do you feel about playlists?
In what way?
Like with an artist. And I mean, artists of any level. Do you feel like in 2026, playlisting is still a valid part of an artist release strategy?
I do. But I think we are past the era of thinking that that's the only primary thing.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree. I still spend, I would say 20 to 30% of my artist release on pitching to playlists. And I would put playlists and online press in the same category at this point for me. And I would say that takes about 30% of my release time with an artist when I'm releasing a song for them. But I wonder from my experience how valuable that is, if it should take that much.
If you get a song, you know, I'm sure you have, as I have, every once in a while it works and you get a song that kind of pops off on a couple of playlists. Yeah. And then you can kind of get that evergreen thing. I've got a couple and a few of my projects and artists that we've worked with who are like, just like that happens. Yeah. And then it's like, all right, so there's this one song that kind of just has this eternal life to it. Yeah. That's cool.
That is super cool. I've had similar experiences where I feel like playlisting can be valuable for kind of like what we were talking about offline, where this is letting, if you can be playlisted in the first day of your song, that I feel like is valuable because it's letting the algorithm, the Spotify or our Apple Music algorithm know, hey, this is being listened to right now. There's demand on this song. I found that to be valuable. And I found the backlink nature of like, hey, now this song can be found on the internet is valuable. I don't know that I find it monetarily valuable for my artists. And I don't know that I even find it like there's, like we said, there are those unique times when it does drive long-term trends, but I don't find that playlisting is something that lasts after the song's been removed from the playlist.
Right. So the other kind of piece of this that I think is really nice when you get on a playlist is potentially, depends on the playlist, but the kind of the identity that you can build around it. Yeah. If you drop like a super hard EDM banger and you get on a playlist called Super Hard EDM Bangers, then you can take that to your socials and go, see, I got a song that is on the Super Hard EDM Bangers playlist, and now that just reinforces your message. And that can be You can be any kind of identity that you have, country twang, dirt road 2026. You could get on that and be like, see, I'm a dirt road country singer.
That's that social bookmarking.
Yeah, there we go. Instagram followers who actually engage. So if your followers don't comment, DM, or share your posts, they're just a number. You need people who care about you and not just your music.
That's very true.
Continuing, Spotify followers. Every new release goes straight to their release radar, which is free promotion to people who already like your music, which is way better than paying ads. every time.
Yeah. If you can build like a Spotify follower base, I still don't know if I think this fits into like artist monetization plan in 2026.
I don't either.
But I think it's kind of like pre-saves. It's a good thing to do.
Mhm.
It may not necessarily translate to money or to higher views, but it is another step that you can take. And I do think it is more valuable than its Spotify stream.
There it is, right? It's like this is like, I think the way that what's in it, Finch Bergling set it up
Such a great name.
is like, it's good as far as you can throw it, right? Like these things are better than Spotify streams, with the kind of qualifier that as we're talking about this, one of the things that's emerging from this conversation is like, yeah, but this still probably isn't what is really actually going to make your career.
Ultimately, I don't think any one tip is going to be the thing,
No.
right? None of these one things are going to be the thing that changes. But I think a combination of these things and a combination of these things, I don't know if I'm going to get ahead of us, but like plus like shows in the real world.
Yes, Cameron.
Like
yes,
plus
Cameron, you are getting.
real world interaction.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. Okay, so actually, this is number 7. How do you do this week after week after week? I hope people who follow along, who actually do listen every single week or watch us every single week, like I hope you have a bingo card going for this, and like because I think since like week 1, you have done this thing where you'll predict the very next thing that I'm gonna say
I'm not looking at it.
Right.
Like I promise you, I'm not.
I'll spend all this time to like compile this shit.
But
and
it also it's also because like what you're putting together is such a logical thing, right? Like that's the logical conclusion that like, okay, cool. Like what are the most valuable things? And that's definitely some value.
So getting off of line, off of the internet into the real world, number 7 is people who show up to your shows. Streams don't buy tickets. Streams don't drive 2 hours to see you live, but real fans do.
Real.
I got to tell you, like maybe people aren't driven to do this, but there's still there's nothing that replaces getting in front of a room of people and like, dude, it just gets better. Like getting in front of a room of people and they can sing your song back to you. Like what a miracle, right?
That's a magical moment. That's a magical moment.
There's nothing on your phone that will ever touch that.
No,
Sorry, nothing.
No, and like there's no better conversion for a fan than being in a room of people who are singing your song and them not knowing it yet and being like, fuck, I gotta go listen to this so next time I can sing it too.
Yeah.
That's one of the best conversions is social conversion. So I'm going to see PJ Noir tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, you are? Oh, I want to go. Like that kind of social proof. And the only way to build that is in person.
Totally true. Going back to the internet, the number 8 is repeat listens. Someone who streams your song 50 times is worth way more than 50 people who stream it once.
That's so true.
So this goes along with
super fans,
with saves and super fans and stuff, but it's worth mentioning. Another one that you mentioned earlier: press coverage and blog features.
Yes, I want to know your thoughts on this one too, because I would say, like I said, I spend probably 30 to 40% of any release with a new artist or an artist that I'm working with specifically for their release on playlisting and digital press, and I have mixed feelings on that. I think it's a tangible return for an artist. I think it's very like, it feels great when you can say this person wrote about my song. I can very rarely correlate that moment to more streams or more sales. So the value I think from those has to either be derived somewhere else. Like for me, I'm often seeing backlinking. And I'm seeing that this song is now easier to find. Like, especially if it's a song, one of the artists I work with released a song called You Are Enough. That's a really common phrase.
Yeah.
And if you search You Are Enough, you're not going to find it. But after we had probably 10 different press articles, if you search his name and You Are Enough, it would come up and it would be consistent. So it was something where we were able to build enough backlinks and, enough references directly to that song that we were able to get it. So if you are looking for it, it's just still probably not very many, but if you are one of the few people looking for it, now you can find it.
Wow. So as you know, as I always open the beginning of the show, I co-own a PR company.
Yes. That's why I thought your opinion would be so interesting.
We've kind of never really like done a deep dive on this. And we have a niche, we have a genre that we focus on. And so I obviously really believe in the value of press and radio. So we do press and we do DJs. So setting aside DJs for now and just the press side of it, the blogs and the magazines.
Yep.
So, we have the ability sometimes with the right opportunities, we get people in print.
Yeah.
To see your song in, like a really rad, like print magazine is like, it
hits different.
It hits different. And so there's like, this feels good. And there's the affirmation side of it, but it is like you say, it's like you are in like, you made it. Somebody decided it's worth like physical money to like spend ink to put on a piece of paper for you. And that's going to go out to their readership and their and some certain percentage of those people are going to check it out.
Yeah.
I think that means a lot. I think the ROI on that, like you say, sometimes isn't direct. Like
that's my experience.
And like music is covered so weirdly now. I think like if you were to get I don't know if they still do music reviews in like People magazine and like big magazines like that. I think the
closest we have now is like an Andrew Fantano.
Sure. Okay.
Or Anthony. I'm sorry, Anthony Fantano.
Yeah.
Andrew Fantano.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, bro.
I think if you got like I think if you maybe managed to get like a 60 minutes blip or something, right? Like some like crazy high profile thing, like CNN would mention you'd get a huge, you would get ROI.
I think of songs that have had that moment, like huge songs, enormous songs, like the K-pop Demon Hunters.
Sure.
They very much were able to get into that like mainstream media conversation because of the numbers that they were doing. And I think you can see that with like older songs, very much dating myself here. But the song Gangnam Style.
Oh, sure.
That song, because I think it was the first song to reach 1 billion. So if you can hit some unique, it doesn't even have to be like, oh, I had the most streams. But if you can be unique in some way, like, this is actually really relevant to me, is if I had an artist who was working on a song that was disability related, and it was one of the only songs released about that particular disability during that month. So we were able to get coverage for that.
Yeah.
And so if you can be unique in some way, that's way easier for you to get physical press or press of any kind.
Right. So there, like, you can kind of like get that escape velocity and it matters. But I think even short of that, even if you're just like, I'm getting on some like niche blogs and like there's the social proof you can, it's because what's crazy is like, so, we do a lot of like goth and industrial, right? So like those blogs will cover the new Depeche Mode, and then the next one will be you. So you are listed somewhere in the world. You are listed next to Gary Newman or Depeche Mode, right? Or like, if you were like, you'd be like, if it was hip hop, right? It'd be like 21 Savage and then your song. Like that would mean something to your clout, to your social proof.
That's that social bookmarking, your name right next to this other huge person's name.
Yeah. So like, I do think there's a ton of value. And then there are things that can come from it, right? Like there's awareness that happens. Other writers can catch you. The thing about PR is like this kind of like blog coverage is actually kind of, it snowballs and it cascades.
Yeah.
Once you've got a couple pull quotes, then other writers, there's like a little bit of a jealousy thing where they're like, how did you find it this person and I didn't? So now they actually want to check you out.
Yep.
So like sometimes like a quote from one artist from your last project or one writer from your last project can turn into
3 more.
Yeah. On your next project from even bigger sources.
Yes.
So there is like a snowball effect that happens over the course of your career.
I have seen that as well, where I think if we pitch someone and they received like good press for a song, and then we pitch them again for their next song, it is easier the second time. And often the people who shared the first time will then share the second time as well. So the first time is really hard, but once you find out kind of you get data too, right? Like
True.
Even if, let's just say you get no streams, no sales, nothing comes from it. Even if you get none of that, you are getting data on who likes your music and who does your music play to, and then you can refeed that data and be more accurate the next time you pitch.
I think we did this turned into like a little mini PR thing.
Yeah, I liked that.
So I think one last thing I'll say, just as long as we're giving away the game, is like, what are you going to do with that? Like, if it's just a write up, then that's one thing. But if you can get your music video embedded in there, if you can get your new song, even if it's a premiere, great. But even if it's not, even if it's just the Bandcamp embed of your song, like you will notice, you'll go check your stats later, and you will, like you said, you will get plays from that.
Yeah.
So it's not like zero things come from it.
Yeah, you can if you can, and you can track like traffic where it's coming from, like if you have a landing page where you can see where people are coming from, it's another really good tip to be able to track where your traffic's coming from.
True. So moving on, just a few more. Number 10 is people who buy your merch. Streams pay you 0.03 cents per play, but a t-shirt pays you, they say $15 to $30.
Damn right.
You know, with on-demand printing, that might be closer to like 3 or 4 or 5 in terms of the profits you make.
Yeah, if you're doing like drop shipping or print on demand, that could definitely eat away at your margins. But if you're willing to like, you know, make merch, you can definitely make 10. You know, we have some merch that we do through Printful and some merch that we make here in house. And obviously the merch is so much better if we make it here. Yeah. But still on Printful, we're still making like $10 per piece.
Okay.
So it's not great. It's not great.
Yeah.
Here in house, we can make like $43 per piece.
Right.
But like, you know, we don't have to do anything. But we don't have to do anything at all. We just upload the design and they print it and ship it and collect the money.
And I will say that if you can sell 50 of something and you make $10 off of it versus 50 streams, just the money count.
It's exponential.
Difference. Yeah.
And I think another thing you said was Bandcamp that I know we're always harping on, but like if you can convert people instead, what's more valuable than a Spotify stream?
Bandcamp stream.
A Bandcamp buy. Yes!
Yeah, or Bandcamp buy, even better.
That's the moment right
Absolutely.
there. $1.29,
yeah.
baby. Let's go.
Period. Okay. Number 11, industry connections, publicists, playlists, curators, other musicians, studio owners, wink, 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 PR company owners, wink, 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 who actually support you. One curator who loves your music will add you repeatedly. One artist friend opens doors. Relationships build careers.
Yes, I love this tip.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the most valuable things. One of the reasons I say go out to clubs, go out to studios, go out, perform with other people. It's not just because you're going to have fun doing it or because you'll meet people. It's because if I do a song with Augustus, Augustus is 99% more likely to share it.
Right.
If you're featured on it, you're going to share it.
Yep.
If it was recorded here at this studio, I'm going to share it. If it was recorded at another studio, they're going to share it. So the more places you touch, the more tentacles you have in pies, the more pies you have that will go out into the world.
If you come to our open mic, we will reshare your song.
That's right.
You know, so like now there's this whole little.
So now you have to come.
That's what I want you to take away from that. Book a plane ticket, you know, for all you Germans out there. Come
fly here. Come on. America's not that bad right now.
What do you have to lose?
Don't come. I'm sorry.
Yeah, actually,
stay safe.
Yeah, please. Finally, speaking of don't come, number 12 is your sanity.
Yes.
Chasing streams will drive you insane. Ask me how I know. You'll obsess over numbers that don't pay your bills or build your career. Focus on what actually matters, or you'll burn out before you make it.
That's real.
Ask me how I know.
That's accurate. How do you know?
That's you know why we're doing a podcast, right?
Yeah, it is. Well, now we can worry about these streaming numbers.
Yeah. So you know, like, and we do. So it's a whole new, as we talk about growing in front of you with you. You know, like you're up there worrying about your streaming numbers,
and we're out here worrying about our streaming numbers too. So we're a family.
So you know, all I have to say to that is like and share and subscribe.
Yes.
And that was a really good conversation.
I think we got something good there.
Yeah. So thank you to Finch Bergling
with the best shout out, best name of the week.
I suggest you go follow Finch. Of course, the link to that will be in the
description.
We've got some news coming up, so stick around.
Relationship.
Yeah, you need a new pair of social friends because we're out. That's the last joke.
You know, I did see a podcast that died like that.
What?
Oh my God. Very short. I'll make this short because we have to get into this. But I watched this podcast for years. It was two guys. I loved them. They were amazing. Tech podcast. Deep. They leaked all the shit, right? One of the guys got fucking sued by Apple for fucking stealing data. The other guy was like, they would made an episode that week. Hey, how are you? Well, we're good. We're talking. Okay. That next week, no episode. Everyone's like, where's the episode? Next week, one of the guys is on another podcast. Like, yeah, bro, my co-host. Yeah, he's probably going to jail. So I'm not doing that anymore.
Fuck me.
And I'm like, wow. Wow, that's the end. New parasocial relationship needed.
We should get into gear reviews or gear leaks so we can have that.
So I can get canceled
Yeah.
for paying someone. So I can pay someone to go steal Neumann's new designs.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about it on the show.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
So I'll
go.
pay somebody who works there. Like I'll find their roommate, pay them, they can steal the data, and then we'll talk about it here and bring it to you first.
All right. So
That's how much we care.
I lived really briefly. Speaking back, we're going way off topic. But what
We're
the fuck?
here.
It's here for the lore day. It's lore time. I'd rather talk about this than AI for a minute. So,
Oh, why? I love AI.
so your story about this proprietary thing. So
Mhm.
I lived very briefly for one summer in this rural village in southern Spain. And the main industry in this village was leather, and specifically for high fashion.
Wow.
And so there was like, it was this pretty, this kind of this typical like white walled southern Spanish village. They spoke, it was a like indecipherable form of Spanish, near Africa, very, very south. And so, they were super suspicious of outsiders, and because it was a pretty tight knit village.
Yeah.
Like it was me and my now ex, and we were just like
Outsiders.
and they were like, but it was crazy because they had a helipad, so occasionally
Occasionally they get real outsiders.
yeah. So I'm like, some big shot would come through and like land on a helicopter, and they would have to do these inspections and like see their product. But they were so secretive because they would have the advanced designs of next year's product, right?
Yeah.
So they'd be like it was all summer. They'd be working for like the fall line, and so people were like really like
Wanting to know what's going on in the factory, because then I know what's coming up.
Yep. So if Gucci knows what Tom Ford is doing, like that's a big advantage. And I don't know which labels they worked for, because that was the kind of thing that just was hush hush. They wouldn't say.
Yeah, I'm not gonna can't say it
So
under NDA.
yeah. So like finally, like I ended up taking like a tour of this factory, but it was like,
Oh, that's cool.
it was like a public tour thing. But it was
Yeah.
like for real, like they were hush hush about the industry because it was all secretive, all NDA.
That's really cool.
People were tripping about us.
They'd be like, "What are you doing here?"
No, for real. I was like the first blue-eyed person they'd seen in.
They're like, "This is a Nazi."
For real. They all like, no, there really was this thought that we were like saboteurs. you
Yeah,
know?
there to steal the information and share the data. You were a corporate saboteur.
Yeah, corporate espionage. So anyway, let's get in. Speaking of corporate saboteur,
Yeah.
that's a nice segue.
There we are.
We've got a bit of AI news. First one, this is going to go real quick. We touched on this earlier, as you mentioned off mic, and as we know, AI music for the most part can't be copyrighted.
That's right.
If it's created in whole by AI,
Cannot be copyrighted.
because copyright is actually to protect the human creators.
Yes.
They have allowed some limitations where they're saying, like partial creations. There's some gray areas we're going to kind of allow, but if it's wholesale made by AI, it can't be copyrighted, which
Yeah, that
means it can't
doesn't-
be monetized, which means you can't sync it.
Yes. And you can't really stream it. You can't like make money from streaming it.
Right.
So like, no,
Right.
you don't own it. You can't make money streaming it.
And so the reason we're bringing this up is because the Supreme Court refused to hear an appeal based on that. So they basically have effectively kept that lower court decision. So as of now, early March 2026.
That's right.
This is the state of copyright law. It really hasn't changed in the last couple of months since this got established.
So just to clarify, right now, if your song, let's say you made the song, you made an instrumental, you wrote the lyrics, but you got AI to sing the vocals. Could I copyright it?
Probably.
Probably so.
Yeah.
But wait, what if I went to Suno and I made the song, I had them make the song, and then I had them make vocals for it, and like, then I have a song.
I'm a prompt engineer.
Can I copyright that?
No, my dear prompt engineer, you cannot.
Darn it.
So that's
So
that's all there's to say about that.
did you read the comments that were like that were like, "No, I'm making music with AI and that makes me a musician."
Yeah. Good luck with that, buddy.
Good luck. I'm
luck.
sorry. No, you still can't copyright it.
Yeah.
So no.
And that's not like copyright isn't the thing that makes you a musician.
No, but that should be, it's you know what it does? It makes you monetizable, and you're not monetizable.
And you know what does make you a musician? The act of making music.
The act of creating, the act of actually making the music, of like, even if all you're doing is, you know what? I don't care how you make your music as long as you're doing it.
Yep. Look, if you go on to your phone, you pull up the Domino's app, and you prompt the Domino's app to deliver you a pizza, you don't get to call yourself a chef.
A pizza chef? Absolutely not. No.
But if you prompt an app to make you a song,
but Augustus, I chose the toppings. I said that I wanted pepperoni and pineapple, and no one's done that before.
Yeah.
So I'm the pizza chef.
Yes, my dear, right. You are. So
I now own the rights
to pizza.
To pizza.
Okay. Next in our AI list,
that is actually way more fucked up when you think about all the Jeffrey Epstein shit.
True.
I'm sorry.
True. Next up on our little AI roundup, Charlie Puth joins AI music creation platform Moises. I'm not sure how to say it, but I'm going to say it's Moises.
I'm going to call it Moses.
It's Moises. Do you think it's still Moses?
Maybe. I'm just saying that to fuck with you because of all the political shit. But I'm just going to call this Moses. Bro, I got this new AI platform. It's going to be amazing. Yeah. You know what we're going to call it?
Moses. Is that because like
Jesus was too much?
Because like Moses parting the water, all the water is now gone because it's being used by
the AI. Yes.
So Moises, singer-songwriter and producer Charlie Puth has been appointed Chief Music Officer of AI music making startup Moises, the platform that last year brought late superstar Whitney Houston's vocals back to the stage for a live concert experience.
So in this situation, Charlie Puth is our fucking Timberlake.
Yeah, he is.
Really?
He is.
I've never loved Charlie Puth. Yeah. I think I've probably ranted about this here before, but there used to be this Charlie Puth class that he over advertised. It was on every YouTube advertisement. Take a class with Charlie Puth. He'll teach you how to write a song. Okay. Well, I don't have great feelings for Charlie. Continue.
What's funny is there's probably people who are watching this with the free version of YouTube who are like getting that ad, you know?
Yeah, well, hopefully not anymore, because this was a minute ago.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully not.
Okay. Moises says its platform counts more than 70 million users worldwide and is available in 33 companies.
33 countries.
So, what did I say?
Companies.
But you know what I meant? You know what I meant?
Countries.
No, actually what I meant was languages, but I got ahead of myself. 33 languages.
33 languages.
Okay, so this is how they differentiate themselves. The company says that, quote, unlike prompt-based AI music tools, its platform does not generate full songs. Instead, it builds professional-grade tools trained on licensed content that help musicians practice, perform, and produce their own work.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So interesting. I agree.
So it's like a practice tool, like a rehearsal tool.
Well, I think it's also production and
Moises.
Yes. Moises says that Puth will help guide the platform's creative and product direction. Quote, bringing the perspective of a working artist to the tools musicians use every day.
Okay, let me give this a fair shake. So Charlie Puth is the I have perfect pitch guy. So if there was going to be one person to like, I'm going to bring music to the computer. Maybe Charlie Puth is the guy for that.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know. I think it's interesting. So far, I don't think we have a great like music AI platform. I think Suno and Udio are kind of awful.
That's cooked.
And they've kind of like, you know, they're in that Xfinity Comcast brand space where it's like, oh, never mind.
Cool, yeah.
So there is space in the market for an ethically trained, wholesome AI music product,
and a tool that's geared towards musicians. You know, last week we talked about how was it the one that got acquired by Google?
Producer AI,
and their thing was that they were like you could have a back and forth conversation, and not just like how they described it as like pulling the lever and hoping you get a song.
AI music gambling. Make me a song. Oh, I didn't like it. Make me another one.
This is dopamine gambling. This is the same thing as scrolling on the internet to me. So this is, and I haven't checked this out because I still am pretty like I don't care.
Yeah.
But this is the one that I'm sort of like tepidly, cautiously interested in.
That's interesting. I think, you know, I was just listening to a breakdown of the new Autotune Pro suite. It's all the plugins that come with Autotune with Antares. And one of their things was a new AI program that they claim is ethically trained where you can run your vocals in. Like if you did a take of like the last parking spot in LA and you wanted to say the last parking spot in LA, how you sang it with your intonation, but say in a different timbre voice. it will keep everything about what you did, how you said it, but change the timbre of the voice. So you could then have like, they really pitch this as like a chorus and a reverb and an ensemble effect, because you are able to layer these non-identical vocals from one identical vocal take, which is kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. I mean, this is like kind of the supercharged version of something that's kind of an old school tip where you're like layering vocals, doing stacks, and like change the formant on your background.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of that.
But this takes that to a whole nother level, because you're actually like changing, like it really sounds like a new person. It doesn't just sound like it's like slightly up or slightly down. Like it doesn't sound like the format is shifted up or down. It sounds like, oh, you had a friend sing, re-record it in their voice exactly the way you did, and you have that now.
Curious.
And it's cool.
Okay.
It's another one of these where I'm like, oh, interesting, more AI in music that I don't totally hate yet.
Yeah. There's like, so there are these little spaces and pockets to carve out, and apparently, according to, like I said, I'm not endorsing this, but according to Moises, this is kind of the
I'm still thinking moist every time. I'm sorry.
So just the final thing, this is really literally just to plug them, but they have
to plug the moistest.
Yeah, they have right now a remix campaign for Charlie Puth, so you can get in on this right now. It goes until May 29th.
For a while.
Stems to his song are available exclusively in the Moises app, and Puth will personally select winning remix and cover songs, with winners and finalists receiving $100,000 in cash prizes. So if you're the kind of person who likes to get into these kind of contests, here's one maybe to look into.
Hey, I think that's super cool. Definitely do it. I've definitely known people who've won these kind of contests. So if you're a real musician and you really want to do this, you should do it, because fuck it.
Why the hell not?
Why not?
Okay, so finally, last bit of news. Apple Music launches AI transparency tags, but only if labels and distributors declare them.
I like that.
Thanks to Murray Stassen from Music Business Worldwide. Now, quoting, Apple Music is introducing a new set of metadata requirements designed to bring greater transparency around AI-generated content to the music industry.
As they should.
The platform has launched what it is calling transparency tags, a system of disclosure labels that record labels and music distributors can begin applying to content delivered to Apple Music immediately, and will be required to use when delivering new content in the future. The new framework covers 4 key creative elements. So this is interesting too. It's not like, this kind of goes back to our what we talked about in the top of the segment, not about leatherworking in Spain, but about how there's like different ways that AI can get used.
Yeah.
So there are artwork, track, composition, and music video.
Okay.
So the artwork tag applies to the album level, flags when AI has been used to generate material portion or of the static or the motion graphic work.
Yep.
The track tag is used when AI generates material portion of the sound recording. Composition covers AI generated lyrics and other compositional elements. And the music video tag, as you can guess, applies to any visual content, whether bundled with albums or delivered as standalone. So you can use and apply multiple tags simultaneously. And Apple's just saying this is similar to genres, credits, and other metadata that just helps people to understand what the music is about.
Helps everyone know what they're getting into.
And
I love this.
I do too. I do, and what I really particularly like about it, and I appreciate Murray for pointing this out in his article.
Is this another Murray Stassen?
The Murray Stassen special.
Yes.
The announcement places the responsibility for disclosure squarely on the content supply chain rather than at the platform level.
Agreed.
A notably different approach to that being pursued elsewhere in the streaming
because otherwise
industry.
you're going to get fucked by Section 230.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to be onus on the company. If Apple Music does it or Spotify does it, then they're going to be responsible, and they refuse to be responsible. So this has to go to the user.
Yeah, and I can. It should be. It's like, why wouldn't it be my responsibility for my music to say whether it's AI or not?
I mean, why would it not though?
That's what I mean.
That should
my
be.
point. That's
who
my
is
point.
going to know better than you?
Exactly.
No one is going to know. Like honestly, as the further and further this goes, fewer people are going to know what's AI and what's not AI. So the onus does need to be on you, the creator, to say, yeah, no, this is made with AI, or no, this is partially made with AI, or no, this is not made with AI at all.
Especially as these more nuanced tools, as AI, LLM, machine learning kind of things kind of start to trickle into our everyday tools that just end up in our DAWs.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's some space to kind of just tag the stuff as AI.
Yeah.
And what is it about that was AI and what wasn't, and disclose that to the public.
Yeah.
So that's our AI music roundup once again.
I love it.
We got through, and this was actually like 3 fairly positive.
This was AI without making me feel like I wanted to die.
Savor this moment while you're having it, because God knows it's going to come for us sooner or later.
Come and go.
So stick around. We're going to wrap up with our take it or leave it advice.
That's
You're
right.
not going to want to miss that. So stay with us.
No, I've seen you wear the reds, the deep reds. That does work for you.
And it's like, it works with my skin tone. It's nice.
It's a vibe. Very complimentary.
I don't like to wear blue because like blue is
It's a communication color.
blue is the color of like Midwestern dads.
Well, darn right.
At least in our generation, it's like, and like what's crazy is like out here in LA, it's like black is the color of like LA dads.
Yep.
But
Yes. Yeah, it is.
and I don't know if it's a generational thing, but like if I like when I see myself in like blue jeans, I just see a Midwestern dad. And
Yeah, I know Levi's are like historically always trendy, but every time I wear them, I feel like I should be like at a work site. Like I'm like, damn. Oh no. Put me back on the ranch.
Excuse me, sir. Could you help me find my way to the ranch? I seem to be lost here in the big city.
Like I need a belt buckle.
Yeah.
Like I need the whole situation.
Cowboy hat,
Yeah.
some boots.
Darn right.
Get yourself written into a country song.
Get myself stood all right.
Hell yeah. Painted on jeans.
Oh, I hope so.
Beer in the back seat of my Chevy
cold
truck.
one?
A cold one in the cornfield. Red dirt road cornfield. Beer. All right.
A dead dog and a divorce.
Let's talk about as we wrap up. We have been the Wholesome Music Podcast.
That's right. We're that every week.
We really are every single week. We're the DIY podcast about DIY music.
And we're music industry's smallest podcast.
We really are both of those things. I was really thinking about we should be the DIY podcast for DIY musicians,
Yeah.
because that really kind of like is that like
That is what we are.
because like DIY music people might think we're doing like music reviews,
I mean, we could do that,
but we're not.
but we're not. Unless you send us your music and are like, review it. And then we're like,
Yeah, I'm still not going to do
probably not.
that. I'm not. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
I would, but you won't. So we won't.
It's not. It's not like I won't check it out, but I'm not going to review
You
it.
don't want to sit here and listen to it?
No, I've thought many times. I would listen to it, but like I've thought many times about like, because like there really is always space. Like we talked about PR in this episode.
Yeah.
There is always space for reviewers and people to kind of help to what I really truly feel like lubricates the music industry, which is DJs and reviewers getting the shit out there. So like if you feel compelled to review music and start a blog or find a blog, you should.
Yeah. And there are so many great resources. If you want your music reviewed like in the next 24 to 48 hours on YouTube, there's places like Curtis King. There's places like Weaver Beats. There's a million resources for you. Search, submit, have my music listened to, and you can do it today. So we're not the place for that.
No. So I think maybe we should change our to. I love when we do these on-air production meetings, but I wonder if we should change our slogan to the DIY podcast for DIY musicians.
I like it.
Okay, maybe,
I like it.
Yeah. So I think that's what we're going to do. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us. Like and subscribe. Please share. You are a part of a musician community. You know people will appreciate this work that we're putting in. So share this with your people.
Let them know.
And as always, use the tools to communicate with us. Use the comments. Use the DMs. Use the podcast tools if they still
We have some great content on Instagram and on TikTok. Please go over and check out those feeds. They're different than what we have here on YouTube, what we have on Apple Music, not on Spotify.
Apple Podcasts.
But please go over, check out those socials as well, and leave us a comment so that we can go back and do what we did last week and read some more of your
Yeah,
comments.
we're gonna do some more of that. We're gonna put you on blast a few more times. Now, as always, we're gonna end with our take it or leave it segment. This is a little piece of advice which you are free to
take
or leave. We switch off every single week. This is Cameron's week, and you've got some pretty cool reverb.
I do. So my advice for this week is really simple. And that is with reverb, less is more. Like when I don't even know if I want to expand on it other than just that. Like less is more with reverb. When I say that, I just mean like we were talking about dry, wet. Sometimes the dry is overrated, is underrated. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's underrated. Dry is underrated. Wet is overrated.
Yeah.
So, like be gentle, be delicate. Less is more. We don't need to be at 85, 95% wet. There's no need for that. Not unless you're, doing something special, doing some other extra sauce. But if you're going right on, there's no need for that. Another, just a little tidbit of extra advice that we talked about previously. But if you're not aware with your reverbs, make sure you're putting them on a bus, sending them out so that they are not directly applied to your tracks.
I'm shocked at how many times I know this advice that less is more, right?
Yeah.
So I know goddamn well to use less reverb.
Yeah.
And I found the right reverb and I'm putting it in and I got it set up. My ears are hearing it. I'm like, oh, this is it. And I know. Put it at, 8%, right? Just like nothing, tiny. And I'm like, ooh, I'm a good mixer. This is a judicious use of it. I got this locked in, only to open it up the next day and to feel like I am drowning
in the reverb. Yes, we have all done that.
Yeah, and you're like, all right, I guess we're going down to 3.
Yep.
Yeah,
bringing it down. I think the best advice that I can give is bring it up to the point that you can hear it, and then bring it back down. So when it bring it up to the point that it's audible, that you can first hear it, start at 0%, and then bring it up to the point that you can just start to hear it, and then bring it back a little bit.
Yeah.
So just enough that you can hear it, and then pull it back.
And then when you open your session the next time, you'll pull it back even more.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So that's really good advice. You're free to take or leave, but as always, Cameron is giving you diamonds.
We are out here.
Use this for yourself. Thank you for watching, listening, and joining us on whatever platform. Please help us grow by sharing, liking, and subscribing.
That's right.
We have been the Wholesome Music Podcast. We will see you next week.